onto the first Imperial Stormtrooper detachment. This is the bread and butter of the entire 501st. It is your Stormtrooper. There's only one simple prefix in this one, TK. Here you will see all the Stormtroopers from the original trilogy. You will see the Stormtroopers from the First Order, including characters like Phasma as well. You also see things like the Rebel type of Stormtroopers, which are very stylized costumes. There are a whole bunch of different versions of Stormtroopers, from Hero Stormtrooper to Stunt Stormtroopers, and it gets a little bit complex on the small details of the costume, but there's so much to choose from, and the variety is so interesting that maybe you'll find one that kind of connects with you. But for me, it'll always be a regular TK, just like my friends. Hopefully one day maybe I can create one myself, because there's nothing more impressive than having a bunch of TKs just show up. It's the most iconic armor around, and when you have a Stormtrooper show up, you know they mean business. Now, the next detachment is the Flagship Eclipse Detachment. This detachment focuses mostly on the comic books, the video games, the stories. It has that sort of legend sort of feel to it. You'll have characters who most people may not be familiar with when they show up to a regular convention just to get a picture with a Stormtrooper. But the costumes are quite impressive, and it's that little deep dive that the true fans will really enjoy and appreciate. There's a lot of focus on dark side adepts, Sith Lords, Imperial Force users, and other denizen characters. This one for me has been a bit of a mystery because I'm not as familiar with a lot of these characters from the books and the comics. But I still appreciate the effort that goes into this. So the type of prefixes you'll have here are BH again for Bounty Hunter, DZ for Denizen, SL for Sith Lord, DS, and TR. The Imperial Gunnery Corps. This is one of the smallest detachments in the group. This one is designed specifically for that Spaceballs, ping pong ball, lovable type of character called the Imperial Gunner. I love the helmet design of the Imperial Gunner and the unique design of the First Order Imperial Gunner as well. But if you've ever seen that big round ball, that there is an Imperial Gunner. There are only, as of this recording, about 4 or 5 different costumes in this group, and their only prefix is IG for Imperial Gunner. Next one is Imperial Officer Corps. I have a couple coins for that one too. I'm just going to keep this here. So the Imperial Officer Corps is the one where you find all the impressive people in suits, pretty much. There are lots of different types of officers here, like Thrawn, Tarkin, Gideon, Hux, and you have your standard officers as well. They're pretty noticeable in their design. Wonderfully built costumes that look nice with the nice boots and the gloves, a nice hat possibly. This here coin here is a coin for our Outer Rim Garrison Imperial officers called the Devastator Imperial Command, the DIC part of the ORG. I love this coin. It's a wonderful coin because it's got that British Columbia feel to it, and it's the lovely shape, sparkle, sparkle, the DIC ORG. Next is one of the more popular ones. It's the Jolly Roger Squadron. That's this bad boy right here. The old skull and crossbones. The Jolly Roger Squadron are pretty much what you think it is. It is the group of TIE fighters. They are our hose noses. They're our crazy flight crew. Hashtag not Vader. I don't know how they get confused, but they still do. So these are the TIE fighter pilots that you'll see in the original trilogy, in the sequels. My buddy Hose Nose, Steve Lewis, he has a wonderful First Order costume, and they're just so sleek and so nice. And the other cool thing about the TIE fighter pilots is that you can have a second costume with just a little bit of tweaking. You just take the helmet off, and you can be a TIE Reserve. There's one simple prefix for this one, TI, for TIE. I think it's kind of clever. Next, Krayt Clan. The Krayt Clan, first of all, Krayt, if you don't know what a Krayt is, there you go, right there, that's the Krayt Dragon. They're the denizens and the aliens and people who live on and around Tatooine pretty much. They're your Tusken Raiders, your Jawas, and other desert dweller costumes. They also include the Bith musicians and a few of the patrons from the Cantina and Jabba's Palace. Other ones like the Tonica Sisters and Snaggletooth are also part of the Krayt, but that's the Krayt Clan. Very cool logo. And again, there's just one simple prefix, DZ for Denizen. Speaking of Tatooine, we also have the Mos Eisley Police Department Detachment. This is another detachment that for me is a little bit confusing. I don't know why it's not part of the Stormtrooper Detachment. This is dedicated to the soldiers that were on Mos Eisley on the grounds, so your sand troopers. But they also included magma troopers and Minban troopers as well. I guess they're the ones that are getting dirty. Stormtroopers up on the Death Star are nice and clean. That's the biggest difference I can see, but I don't know why they just didn't combine the two. It would kind of make more sense to me that way, but hey, I'm not in charge of it. All right, next, the one I belong to, the Pathfinders. There we are. There you go. There's a Pathfinder coin there for you, as well as a 20 years anniversary coin. It's got your John Cena spinner motion to it. The Pathfinders were originally just the Scout Troopers, as you can see right here. But over time, they started to incorporate other troopers as well. Kashyyyk clones, shore troopers, patrol troopers. I think what connects these type of troopers is the shape of their face. You have that sort of kind of 80s Brett the Hitman Hart goggles and that mouthpiece as well that kind of goes down like that. They all seem to have that in common. And the two prefixes you'll find the Pathfinders are TB, right there, TB, and ST for Shore Trooper. Next, the big one, the Sith Lord Detachment. The Sith Lord Detachment is pretty straightforward. These are where the heavy hitters reside. You got your Darth Vader, you got your Darth Maul, you got your Darth Sidious, Darth Tyrannus or Count Dooku. Heck, there's even a Count Dooku in pajamas CRL. It looks fantastic. These are the ones that are only in the movies though, and not in books or video games. Also, what is unique about this one is Darth Vader alone is not just one costume. I didn't know this until much later. Darth Vader has, in this case, in this detachment, has 7 different versions of Darth Vader. And they all have subtle differences, and some not so subtle. But like I said, this is strictly for the Dark Lords that we see in the movies. So the prefixes you'll find in here are SL for Sith Lord and DS for Dark Side. With our Sith Lords, they have to have protectors, and that's where the Sovereign Protectors Detachment comes in. I got one for that too. That's where these guys come in. The Sovereign Protectors Detachment is for your Royal Guard. They're in charge of taking care and being the backup for all your Darths and your Sidiouses and all that sort of stuff. They focus mostly on the canon, but there are some that are in legend as well. You can find them in the comics, the video games, the books. But basically, the Sovereign Protectors are anybody with that sort of iconic head shape. It has morphed over time. What we knew originally as the Royal Guards with the red and the kind of the upside down water drop with the eye slit there, but as we learned in the prequels, there was also blue versions as well, and they're part of this as well. Anybody with that iconic sort of helmet shape are part of this detachment, and their prefix is TR. Next is the Spec Ops Detachment. The Spec Ops Detachment are a unique group. They're the ones that take a regular costume like a Stormtrooper or a Biker Scout and they change it up. Shadow Troopers, Shadow Scouts, Nova Troopers. There's a whole bunch of different types. Even Sith Troopers and Swamp Troopers are in this group. What's also unique is in this group is also 000, that sort of evil C-3PO sidekick of Darth Vader. And their prefix is TX for, I guess, extra cool. Next are the Wild Ones. This is the Underworld Detachment. The Underworld Detachment have some of my favorite costumes in it. This is the group which is your scum and villainy. These are the ones hanging out at the bar, hanging out with Jabba, running around just being all alien-like. They're your pirates, your gangsters, your henchmen, your thieves, your smugglers, and thugs. They cover the entire gambit of whatever's left. They're not the ones that work for the Empire necessarily, but they are part of this Star Wars world that makes it unique. So you're going to find characters like Barada, Hondo, Captain Ethano, one of my favorite characters from the new trilogy, Rees. What's confusing to me about this one is, I mentioned earlier with the Krayt detachment, the Krayt had a Gamorrean guard in theirs, but Bib Fortuna is in this one. You had a cabbie in the Krayt, but a Muftak in the Underworld. And so I'm unsure as to where the line is drawn between Krayt and Underworld. To me, there's nothing more of a thug than a Gamorrean guard. The prefix mostly for this one is DZ, but there are the odd DS for Dark Side in here as well. They are the ones that represent Emperor's little helpers, those little kind of snivelly guys sitting in the back there, I guess, planning out their next pickleball tournament or something like that. So there you go. There's a list of all the detachments in the 501st. I'll put a link down below so you can kind of look for yourself. So when you're building your costume, or maybe your second costume or third costume, take a look at the detachment list and check their CRL. It will have the list of all the requirements for that costume. It's very detailed, very easy to understand, but yet you will need some assistance from people who have either built the costume or understand the costume. And that's where you join the forums and you create your WIP, your work in progress. It will be so helpful and you'll connect with a lot of people. Again, be open to criticism, be open to the fact that you might have to either redo something. It's a hard thing to do, trust me. I still have troubles making that first cut, but that's what you do. You talk to an expert, you talk to somebody who's gone through it and built it. I hope this helped. I enjoyed this. If you want, I even created a Kahoot to test your prefix knowledge. I'll put a link down below that maybe you can try out for yourself. We used it at our last gala and it was a lot of fun and you get to learn a lot about it too. I love these little bits about the 501st, from things like coins to prefixes and your TK number, to all the patches and stuff. It's those little fun little bits that make this community enjoyable and more of a family. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so yet, please like, please subscribe, help me get to 200, share with your friends, help the channel grow. And if you would like to support the show or the Generation X-Wing podcast, we have a TeePublic site where you can purchase shirts. I have the new Outer Rim Rookie logo that you can see right here, and lots of other different designs too. You can get things from stickers to mugs and all that sort of stuff. As well, check out the Generation X-Wing podcast, which happens every Saturday. We just finished our 300th episode and our Trivia 301st episode, and more episodes to come. Thanks for watching, and remember, armor is built on hope. Bye. You gotta clean the coin. You gotta clean the coin.